Sonic Super Special Issue 15, the final one. We start out with Sonic somehow having come back to the southern tundra to pay respects to Eddie. Then an entire page is wasted on worthless recap, and after Sonic leaves a rose, the ground caves in beneath him, and he finds himself in pitch darkness. He spin dashes to escape from wherever he is, and finds a whole stash of rings. Again, why did Nate bother making these if he never planned on using them? Sonic plans on using the rings to make a wish, returning that stupid concept. And then it turns out that somehow, Naugus was able to trick Sonic into wishing for Naugus. Wait, what? First, how could he plan that? And second, why would Sonic think that and phrase it that way? And third, wouldn't the rings read his mind and know what he meant? How else do inanimate objects like rings interpret what people are saying regardless of their language? Ixus explains that all Nate did was pull the rings out of his body to send him to the Zone of Silence. But Ixus still had a mental connection to them, probably since he was the previous one who used them, even though he was separated from them by a whole zone. So as soon as someone began to use the rings, Ixus was still able to turn the rings to his own purposes despite not holding them at all and not being in the same dimension as them. That makes no sense. Then a long fight with Ixus starts, where Ixus starts out using fire, has Sonic blind in a snowstorm even though that should inconvenience Ixus just as much, and really the two should be able to find each other just fine with their heightened Mobian sense of smell or hearing. And worst of all, do they really think this is interesting to see? I mean, come on, it's just panel after panel, page after page of the same blizzard over and over again, with nothing but text boxes for variation. Who thought this was a good idea? You know what, honestly I think they did. I think the artist was thinking, I'm such a genius. I'm such a clever guy. I mean, look at all the time I'm saving myself. I can get away with this. They could have easily had him use a different power, or had us, the audience, arbitrarily be able to see just fine in a snowstorm for some reason. For the same reason that we're allowed to see Sonic when he's invisible. Instead, it's just blizzards. Sonic starts to realize after saying that Rotor makes Ixus sound like a third grader, that teasing Ixus really gets to him. Or as he puts it, the dumb jokes get to him, alright. See, this is the comic showing self-awareness, you know, the kind people pretend it never does because it takes itself seriously, God forbid. Imagine if Sonic Colors had Sonic calling his jokes dumb jokes. Sonic doesn't say his jokes because he thinks they're works of art. He says them out of stress to be snarky, like a regular person. Anyway, Sonic continues teasing Ixus, even though he has no way of knowing whether enraging Ixus will just get him killed or not. Wait, why'd he say Ixus was sent back to the Forbidden Zone, and not the Zone of Silence? Are those two the same thing, apparently? There's so many different Forbidden Zones, it's confusing. When Ixus ends up reminding Sonic of rings, Sonic realizes that he still has a ring, and seals Ixus back in the Zone of Silence with a wish. I really hope they retcon this wish thing to make sense, like explaining that there are different types of rings, and they all just look the same, and some rings are way more powerful than others arbitrarily. Because I really have to wonder why he doesn't just do the same thing to Eggman. The next story, in black and white, so I can only assume this is some sort of alternate universe, has Sonic alone in the city and seeing swap bots. One of them drops a matchbook with the word Rusty's on it, and Sonic wonders in the narration if this seems like a setup. If we're going to have a film noir parody, could it please at least be with the film noir universe? No? I guess not. So we never get to see the aftermath of the regular Sonic vanishing after being accepted into their freedom fighters. We see Sonic go into a bar of abandoned badniks, who I have to wonder why they haven't gotten destroyed by Sonic years ago from continuing to abide by their programming to defeat him, instead of somehow staying alive for the longest time so that Sonic could beat them. Sonic orders a chili dog float there. First of all, this is a badnik bar, so who would be eating to the point where the menu has food? Badniks can't eat, can they? And second, there's no such thing as a chili dog float. Is there? That sounds disgusting. They really do go overboard with Sonic having a favorite food. Sonic gets surrounded by badniks the minute he casually orders something at a bar, so I wonder why he hasn't immediately spin dashed through all the badniks and destroyed them in a blue blur by now, instead of giving them any sort of chance. But instead, because of his weird lack of activity, The lights go out and a spotlight lights up a small stage, causing scratchy music to play, and the badniks to go like moths to a flame. Huh? Why would Eggman ever design a female SWATbot pole dancer? Maybe it was actually built by the badniks, but why would the badniks have a desire for this programmed into them? This is just confusing. It makes sense if this was Futurama, where the robots are all a natural part of society and can even reproduce just like everyone else can. But it's not. Suddenly some robot grabs her ankle, and then it turns out Bunny goes down hard, and her helmet pops off. Oh, okay, so it's just Bunny disguised as a SWATbot to distract the robots. Except Sonic wasn't doing anything during that distraction, so what was the point? And also, we've never seen a female SWATbot before, so you'd think the badniks would all be very suspicious. And this still doesn't explain why they're programmed to like seeing that without the ability to reproduce like normal people would. Finally, the two of them start fighting the badniks, and then a combat self-destructs, destroying all of Rusty's, and with that, the issue ends. Finally! This was a disappointment. Both stories are really pointless and frankly stupid. The first story by Ken Penders is literally all about the rings grant wishes concept, with Sonic having a pointless fight with Ixis that defines pointless, and surprisingly, it's apparently considered non-canon by Mobius Encyclopedia. Why? Does it contradict anything established later in the comic? Apparently it was recreated and officially retconned, destroying the point of recreating it, in Sonic Free Comic Book Day 2011. And the reason is the extremely lazy and rushed artwork consisting of several panels of entirely black darkness, which I could accept, and snowstorms, which I can't accept, when they could have very easily let the audience see what's going on. You know, have it be dark blue and stuff for the night vision, and seeing the characters for the snowstorm. Although even then, nothing interesting actually happened for us to miss. It would have been just Sonic running or standing still in the cave. Not to mention I have to question how Sonic got all the way to where Eddie was killed off so easily and got home so quickly with no fanfare, with no indication that someone was taking him there by plane. That's a better reason to make it non-canon to me. And the second story by Mike Gallagher is at least kind of interesting, seeing badniks in a bar being defeated in a film noir setting, but it's rife with missed opportunity, because I'd rather see a film noir thing continue off in the film noir universe, instead of abandoning that zone when you could easily revisit it and flesh it out a little more. And its entire foundation rests on plot holes. Why were the badniks able to be seduced by a pole dancer when they really shouldn't have a libido, and why didn't Sonic do anything while Bunny was distracting the badniks, making the distraction pointless? Why did Sonic just destroy all the badniks the instant he showed up at the bar, instead of bothering with this nonsense? And why are all the badniks still operational instead of having gotten themselves destroyed by Sonic years ago while fulfilling their programming? The only way them still existing would make sense is if they were ordered by Eggman to stop trying to fight entirely, which would be a waste of robots, and at that point he should just use them for scrap metal while he's at it. I can't believe I didn't realize this at the Badnik Junkyard, but yeah. Either way, the Sonic Super Specials really ended on a sour note, just like the Knuckles comic. It's almost like it was done this way intentionally as a writer revolts. Who knows? Next up is issue 90. And surprisingly, there are no Sonic Super Specials, well, obviously, but from issue 90 to, I think, 190 or something, there's not going to be any sort of special comics switching around, no super specials or anything, which I love, honestly. It makes things easier for me.